figuring out how maybe we can partner for workforce, the Community Foundation, partnering for community events. Of course, I want to thank them again for providing those T-shirts and those mementos for the kids for 4th grade at the field trip. With Garmong, I was in on a meeting with the RISE with them on how the Economic Development Office can also help with that. Sony DADC last week, I met with Heather.
Did Garmong say anything about helping or anything? How active are they in the Shell project?
So a lot of it, they are working directly with the RISE, but it was more so of just if there was something that I could help assist with them. A lot of it in my piece of the puzzle is going to be submitting on projects through the portal and things of that, but most of their collaboration is going to be between them and the RISE with that property. Last week, meeting with Heather Strom with DADC, kind of seeing how they have changed and how they might be able to support some of the efforts when filling out RFIs. Park Vermilion Adult Ed with their partner for workforce and training and things that they have to offer there. And then of course the WRCTE program of cultivating from our high schools. I participated with mock interviews with them a couple weeks ago. We definitely have a bright future with the youth that we have and their ability to really dive in and be willing to join the workforce and take part in those programs that they have to offer. Next up was the Bicentennial. I already mentioned that. It was definitely what I would consider a success. I had got several pieces of feedback from teachers that were asking for that to be an annual field trip. Thank you to everyone that helped with that. All of the officials that were in here and gave information to the kids and talked about what you did and what your responsibilities are, what each office does within the courthouse. The teachers were very pleased with that and how that checked a lot of boxes and aligned with the curriculum that they cover in local history and government and things of that sort at the elementary level. So kudos to everybody in the county for that participated and helped pull that off.
I think that we ought to entertain that thought about an annual event with the kids to coincide with our Indian History Week.
And I would agree. Of course, there would be some additional planning with that. It's not going to be as grand of an event as it was with the Bicentennial and the time capsule and things. But really, maybe breaking it down into a school per day or maybe one school where they can really dive in a little bit deeper into each office to get a better understanding. So the teachers really, really appreciated all of that. They said that their kids really enjoyed it. As far as Saturday with the community event that we had, the great town displays that were on the 3rd floor, the wax museum that was on the 2nd floor. I don't know if anybody was here and got to see little Jane Pauley and listen to her speech, but those kids really put in some great work. And then one thing that really I think we need to take away is the youth really set a great example of unity that we have here in this county for the choirs and the bands from both ends in the county to come together that day and perform together. I know on the Economic Development Facebook page, if you have a chance to go there and listen to those 2 choirs perform the song in there, and just, they'd never met each other, they'd never rehearsed together, they had never anything. And I just think that really shows a great example of bringing 2 ends of the county together and that unity that can really be there. Moving on, so the ISBDC, we do continue each month with office hours. You can call and make an appointment or stop in. Courtney comes the 4th Monday of each month. So in May, it's going to be May 27th from 11 to 3. Jared will be here the 2nd Tuesday of each month, starting May 14th from 9 to 12. I do know there's already an appointment scheduled for Jared on the 14th, so if there is a time for anyone that wants to come in, remember this is not just for new business, this is for existing businesses as well, agribusiness, every segment of that are open. It's an open door for all of them to come in and get some free business consulting from them. The next piece is the Main Street 101. Last week I hosted a meeting for 2 or 3 community members to come in. A lot of them had already been a part of Main Street at some point. That program has changed a little bit, not a whole lot, but they put it into levels, so I think it's a little more community friendly. And Executive Director Duke Bennett kind of gave an overview of what Okra does, what the Main Street program is, and how that changed. And then I want to continue to encourage those community members to attend that meeting in Terre Haute on June 4th. If they need the link to sign up for that, they can email me, call me, anything of that sort, and I can pass that along. And then lastly, next week I will be out of the office. I'll be at Ball State to take the Ball State Economic Development course. That is the first course that I would need to attend that is accredited by the International Economic Development Council, and the first step in getting towards that certification of being a certified economic developer. So with that note, I do want to thank Duke Energy. They provided the scholarship and the grant to cover all of my costs for that course next week. And that's all I have.
Anybody got any questions, comments?
No, I just want to say thank you to Amanda for spearheading the bicentennial. I think you were really kind of, I'd say a chaos coordinator might have been the correct term for Friday. It was pretty nuts in here. But yeah, special thanks to all the office holders, everybody that helped. It was a great event. I think the kids really did enjoy it. So,
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was very well done, and I think everyone enjoyed it. And if we can look at maybe making it an annual event out, I think it would be a good thing to do.
Absolutely.
Good
Thank
job.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have public comment. If anybody has a public comment, come up in the rest here. Tell us who you are, and you got 3 minutes. Could be another one at the end. Okay, we're going to move on to new issues. 2024 Health Department fee schedule and approval. Dr. Market. Are you representing Dr. Market today?
Yes. Now, you said fee schedules. You want that first, or we want to talk the ordinance first? I think it's all together. Oh, Tim Wilkins for Health Department.
Yeah, the second part, no, it's not on there.
I think the fee schedules first.
Yeah.
Was there any changes from last year's fee schedule, Tim?
This is, what she sent me was the septic fee and penalty schedules. I thought she'd already passed that others.
Oh yeah, we do. I just didn't know if she had made any.
Did you just do it a couple meetings ago?
She reintroduced it again for
Yeah.
a whole, there's 2 fee schedules. One was for the septic, and then the other one was for all the
I got
all
the
the
septic.
departments.
I got the septic.
This was for
schedule.
all the
Yeah, the
different
vaccines
fees.
and all
Yeah.
that, and I don't have that.
The only,
I thought she just had, last time she was here, appeared for you.
I don't know, she put this on the agenda too for some reason to be passed. I do have a question with it though. It'd be helpful if it had the units on here, like septic tank construction permit, $50 per permit. More importantly, it's, some of these say per event, per day. It doesn't say it's necessarily annual, or if it's re-upped, or if it's a one-time, like if you get a septic permit, is it a one-time septic permit? It is.
It's in the ordinance, yes, one time.
I think if we spell out the units, like per day, per unit, annually, sometimes it says it in the text, sometimes it says it on the side, and sometimes it doesn't even identify what period of time or what the unit is per period. It'd be helpful for me anyway. Actually, it'd be helpful. If we could do that, I don't think I have a
Tim?
problem with it.
Tim, do you have a copy of this?
The fee schedule?
Yeah, that's a long one. I'm sorry. Can I get copies made of this, because I didn't bring any.
We're talking about a fee schedule right now.
This has, yeah, this was to go, yeah. This one I thought was taken care of. This one goes along with the new ordinance. And because
Yeah, I think it's
specifies
two separate
that.
issues. She's wanting this one passed, and then the ordinance had its own little fee schedule also. Or
Yeah,
payment
that's the one
schedule.
Yeah,
that's
it's
one
in
I'm
here,
hearing.
Kim,
Yeah,
this
that's
one
it
is.
right there.
Yeah, it's in the back of the packet.
That we would spell out.
But
the
I don't
per
know
day
about
and per
this one
unit.
because I thought it was already passed.
Okay.
This includes tattoo,
Mm-hmm.
birth certificate, death certificate, food permit, septic holding tank permits, which this would be revised if you pass this, and then tattoo artist, whole list of things. And the vaccine shots.
We're still dealing with the approval of the schedule, right?
Yes.
So you just wanted updated on the site, on this, where somebody can see it when they're applying for it?
Well, it doesn't spell out. Some of them are just blank. You have to surmise what the period of time that is for, whether it's an annual. Sometimes it says it in the wordage, sometimes it doesn't. It's just silent. Per event, per period of time, or per whatever. I guess another question I have is, how long are new septic, this goes with the septic permit portion of this. I come in and I apply for a new septic permit. How long is that good for? Is it good for here for perpetuity, or is it good for
1 year.
Okay.
And that's set by the board. And I am going to bring that to the board again, but to make it 2 because of construction delays and stuff we've been through, especially with COVID. I've been having to extend several because when supplies got really bad, they'd supply, and I don't know, engineering, putting up a new home and everything probably takes more than a year sometimes.
No, people don't get
some of these
started.
homes are building, yes, it takes more than a year. But that's actually just to put your septic in, and septic usually is kind of toward the end of the process.
But you have to have your
Get everything
approval at the
set.
beginning, though.
Yeah, they're approved, but approvals only last for a year, and the soil tests last longer than that, as long as they don't change the site.
So we had a fee question about approval of this. I have no problem with it. You want to add some things to it that you request to be changed on
I
that?
just think on this side that it gives the dollar amount needs to say what period of time it's for,
Okay.
not just, sometimes it's in writing, sometimes it's not. If
Okay.
it's an annual permit, what does that mean?
Okay.
That's even a question. Is it a calendar year, or is it an annual from the day that you apply for it?
Okay.
Is it prorated even? I don't know if you prorate.
So if it already says that, it's okay? Is that what you're saying? Because it basically does, but is that okay? I mean,
I don't oppose any of the rates that you're proposing.
You just want clarification on
Just-
some of these.
Well, like if you
if
apply
I
for-
would have known, okay, someone walks in, gets a permit, they come in and say, I'm putting in this new septic system. We advise people to have a soil test run, and then we set the site, we go from that soil test, set the site, and they're to supply us with a drawing and a picture and all this. They know that they're preparing, and that gives them the process to, the permit to start their, once accepted and approved, that allows them to start. Then they have to bring that up to Penny to show her so they can get a building permit. So that's why there's such a delay. They're getting one step out of the way to get their building permit. Their building permit's taking longer than to put in their septic. So I don't know how we would, you're saying that about, is it good for a year, good for that? On the thing, it informs them it's only good for a year, but it's running into times where we're not being able to accomplish it, they're not being able to, so
It just.
it should be extended to 2 years.
Yeah, I'm taking that aside, it's just the units, is it per day, per year, per calendar year? If it would just say that on the sheet that is, this is for everything, not just for septic, for tattoos, vaccines, per
So
shot,
you
per
think,
unit.
you're saying it should go on the fee schedule? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes. And whether it's a calendar year or whether it's from the date of,
I can see that.
Application or
That's
what?
not a problem. It's just that
No, it's
all
not.
the paperwork we've got that we give them, it tells it, but to put it on here so you'll know that it's a year, that's the problem. Or 2 years, hopefully.
Yeah.
As long as the clarification is worked out,
I'm
you're
fine with
Yeah,
it.
good in, I had no problem passing this thing today. So, someone will make a
Motion to
motion.
approve the fee schedule for the Board of Health.
I'll second the motion.
Our discussion is that you're gonna submit the,
Well, with the units
Units.
attached to the
Okay.
dollar amount.
Just put them on the fee schedule, because once you apply for the
This is-
permit, the documents are there, but if they just want a quick bird's eye view of it or an overview, you can see it.
It's administrative.
take a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Since you're up there, you wanna go ahead and do the next one too?
Yes, that'd be fine.
That would be, verify it real quick. Second reading of amended sewage system ordinance. What we have here is an ordinance, and it's been brought up at other meetings. I know that I told you I would pass it last meeting. I know your comments in public comments about me calling me a liar I didn't appreciate. Sometimes things here become more important than other issues than this. And my intention was to do that. But we had other issues that day I thought were more important. And also Britton still has a few questions about that.
Where did that come up at?
Facebook.
You're commenting on Facebook about department
Let's don't go
things?
there. I done addressed this, my issue. I addressed it.
Well, it's not. It's
Whoa,
a
whoa,
commissioner
whoa, whoa.
issue.
Are we here to talk ordinance or?
We're here to
Tim,
talk ordinance, but
And then I will rephrase the question to you. Did you not tell me that you would take care of it?
I
And
did.
Did I say, do I need to be at the meeting?
And I said I would, but other things
But did
came
I-
up.
Did I
And
ask
there's
you
no
if I
intention
need to be
to.
at the meeting or Dr. Martin need to be here?
You what?
Did I ask you the question, do I or Dr. Market need to attend the meeting?
I don't know if I did or not. I just told you I'd take
You
care of
said,
it.
no, you don't. I told
No,
you.
I said
I'd
I'd take care of it.
I'll take care of Britt.
I said I would.
The exact word you said.
I did say that, and that day we had other things that were more important, and that's what I'm telling you. It's not that was the reason why it wasn't addressed that day, was because we had issues very much more important.
Okay.
So-
And since we started this last fall, this permit, and we'll go over the changes that we put in the permit under advice of the state, that's what I'm prepared to do now. But and if I called you a liar, you misled me, and I shouldn't use the word liar. I will apologize for that. But I was told not to be there. And I
That's
watched
fine.
the meeting, nothing happens, and it looked out in the crowd, and Mr. Britton said, "So Dr. Marker, no one's here from the health department." Well, the reason we wasn't here was
That's fine.
I reported back to her, because I'd called you on the phone. You kind of leave a little bit of this out. I called you on the phone, you said you was at luncheon and with people and you didn't have time. Well, I stopped to pick my wife up a salad at the co-op. I walk in there and it said you and another person, and I went over and said, "Hey, can we talk about this?" And you said, "If it's about that, do you still want the contractors to be registered?" And I said, "Dr. Marcus removed that from the ordinance, to be certified or registered." And you said, "Then I'm all right with it." If he says, I'll take care of it. And I said, "Then do we need to be at the meeting?" This was on a Thursday, and I think the meeting was following Tuesday. And I said, "Then I will tell her that we don't need to be there."
You didn't,
Okay.
okay? I'm
mean,
saying
that's
that
just-
last meeting, there was more important things to deal with than that.
And that's
And we
fine.
have a right as.
You had the right,
we-
but
we
I
did-
you told me that you was
I
going
know,
to take
but
care of it, but.
it didn't
and not
get
to
done,
be
and
here.
I told
Really,
you-
not to be here is a key point.
Do what?
not to be here was the key point. We should have been here that day, so we could have.
Well, it wouldn't happen anyway. There was too
Okay,
much
it wasn't
going on
gonna
that
happen,
day.
so.
And so if you
So
think
you knew
that,
it wasn't gonna happen.
you think that I
that's-
purposely did something to you, I rescind that. I reject that. I mean, you have a right to be here. That day, there was too much stuff going on. And we as commissioners have a right to dictate what goes on at that meeting, and it was not high priority. So, but we're on that discussion. I think that the issues that we have had here is Britton brought up this morning that he had a meeting with Paula Market, discuss it, and she didn't do it. She couldn't make it or something. So I respect everyone here. Everyone has a right to weigh in on decisions, and he's still waiting to have that meeting with her. So I have an issue there that I think that ought to be done, and that's where I'm at on it right now.
That ties into the previous. That ties into the previous
Yeah.
meeting at the co-op.
Yeah, I want to move on.
That was on a Thursday, and the meeting you had set up was 2:45 on that evening. And we talked about 1 o'clock, 1:30.
Well,
So,
we need to move on this. If I offend you in any way, and you thought I did, I apologize for that.
when I,
That was not your
same
intention.
here.
That was not my
I
intention.
don't mean that, I just meant that we was told not to come, and we didn't come, and you're right, you set it aside, you tabled it.
But
which
the
is
issue
within
here
your right.
that I have here, when I think Britton has a right to his discussion, he has a right to meet with Paula, who is your superior, to discuss this, and that needs to be addressed, I think, and then we can move on.
Yeah, I'd prefer to meet with her and work through some of these. Plus, apparently there's a new version out that received this last week also, which I don't know. Apparently sent to the Board of Health or State Board of Health, and then it's returned with whatever changes. I don't know. I'm not
No,
had time
got
to
it.
look at that.
I've got them, I'm prepared to give them to you.
I received them, but I've not had time to go back
Well, I've
through
got
and see.
'em.
Okay, well, I'll discuss them with Dr. Market at some point.
Can,
She missed our last meeting.
Can you,
Well,
they're just changing, this is what I'm upset about in trying to deal this. We're down to, the first thing is the intro, the statute number. It's IC 16-41-25-9, and it should be IC 16-. There's a dash after IAC. That's one of the first problems. Change verbiage in the last sentence, which that was under B1. I don't think I have to read it, but it's like putting an and in instead of an or. Remove in B3H, remove transducer because it read the alarm, the float, and the transducer, which is all the same piece, so it only needed to put the alarm. Let's see, replace on C2, replace or with and, okay? We need to do that, and we've done all these things.
That's fine. Tim, I'd like to table this for our next
Yeah,
meeting. if
because
you would, please.
this is what the state's asking us,
Okay.
and we're down to what.
Kim, all I will say too is I know Dr. Market did send us an email Friday. I know she didn't get in the weeds a whole lot with some of these questions, but I do, as reading it again, I do see where the state have asked some of those changes that we did submit to be reverted back to their ordinance that they want. So I'm ready to move on this whenever. I know the other commissioners have some issues with issues within the ordinance, but I've been ready to move on it for a couple months. Do you know how many ordinances in the state? Because they're trying to streamline this across 92 counties.
It started in July last year. The law went in effect July 1st, as all laws do in the state of Indiana. And the law was to counties to go back to their commissioners and work on a ordinance. And they gave us all kinds of ordinances. The one we first gave to you was the one they sent with us, and basically, I've got a copy of it, I'm not gonna dig through this paper, but it was highlighted, and you guys all got copies of it. And all you had to fill in was Vermillion County this, Vermillion County that. Well, Mr. Britton made some changes, and some of these is the way he thought the and should have been, or this sentence should have been, or the hyphen, maybe a typo. So we sent that back to them, and now they sent this back to us, because we changed what they sent us, and they want to change back the way they sent it. And it's how you read something. You know, I can read something without a comma, you know, from my grammar, but just, you know, we're down to just really nitpicking this thing, and I think it's got, the ordinance itself goes over and covers very thoroughly what has to be done, and how we've come to a conclusion how the settings and everything should be set. If we was arguing over load rate of a house, for instance, one bedroom load rate is 1.50 or 150. So maybe somebody says, well, they might have 4 kids in that house. Let's make it 200. You know, that changes the whole system, sizing, and if we're arguing over stuff like that, I could understand it a lot better than we're just spending time arguing over change the E3, change soon to so.
Oh my gosh.
That's
This is
what
a
I got, though.
misrepresentation of what's been happening.
What we're gonna do is.
That is.
I'd like for this,
You've
I make
got-
a motion,
You've
I
rewritten
make a
this
motion
thing,
that we table this until the next meeting.
so we
Now
can
I have a
rewrite it
chance to
again,
meet
and
with,
we'll be back to where
So,
we're at.
in the meantime.
Could I get a vote?
In the meantime, you will get in touch with Paula, and next meeting you will have it just resolved totally. There will be no
well, I
other
would hope
delay.
so, but I tried to meet with her last time. She was held up in Indianapolis for some reason, couldn't make the meeting, hasn't rescheduled, so, yes, I hope so.
I think she's having a serious doctor. I think she's at a doctor appointment. That,
Well, that's fine. I mean,
I'm not, those things happen, but we haven't met, so.
It's not a real big issue about this, and
Right.
Britton has commitment, and he wants to do it, and
but I need to know.
it'll be done by next
What's your
meeting.
question?
I have a
mean,
motion on the table
Yeah.
here. I'd like to, if somebody would second it, to table
I'll
this
second
until
it.
next meeting.
Discussion is, it's ongoing, and it'll be resolved. The deadline is next 2 weeks. It's done, and that's where I'm at. And like I said, I apologize. It's taking longer than what it should. I know it is. I'll tell you that right up front. But I think I've got to give Britton his chance to speak with her, and we'll get it resolved and moved on.
okay.
All in favor?
There, as far as putting the punctuations and the spelling, that'd be 2 better people than me to do it. I'm
Thank
here
you.
to say that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Thank you.
Moving on. Amended supplemental agreement with Clark Deeds for inspection equipment.
I think this is the iPads, I think.
We approved that last time. Is this a carryover?
I think it's for the extra iPad, maybe. Please see attached somewhere.
At least we had that discussion. I thought we approved
Yeah,
it last
this-
time.
I think it may need to sign, yeah, because we talked about it. Because I think we're all in agreement of it, I believe.
If you want to discuss it again, we can, I
You
guess.
got any other discussion?
I don't. I think they just needed an extra one, I believe.
Call for a vote?
We can just be in agreement or
I'm in
call for a
agreement.
vote.
Okay. I have no problem.
I'm in favor of it.
Okay. So John, we don't need no vote on.
Not if you don't want to.
Okay. This verbal agreement's fine. Okay. We're all in favor, right? Moving on down the road. I-70 corridor project, last week we had a meeting here, and it was promoted, I guess. So some media picked it up. I was surprised that other media didn't take it other than the paper. But I-74 project is something that we've been working on for years. It's a very good project, and I know it's been something that's been on the agenda or on the radar for economic development for years. But with the development of the state of Indiana redoing their Welcome Center, bringing water and sewer across, it turned out to be a real good fix. We already had talked to the state about doing that, and then lo and behold, the state come along and want to partner with us. Aqua Indiana is going to be partnering with us on that. If you want to get a hold of us later, or get a hold of Amanda Heber. If you want to get a hold of Amanda Heber, she has the information on that, and also we have it here at the courthouse, right? We have the information at the courthouse left over. So there'll be more information coming out on that here for long. So letter of support. You all have any problem with that letter of support?
I do not know. That's the IURC.
Britt, you have any problem with that?
I'm fine with that.
Okay. Someone want to? Can we just do it by agreement, or are we still?
You can vote if you want to. Otherwise, there's not a specific statute that says here's how you have to make a decision. There's 3 of you. If 2 of you agree on a course of action, then
Okay. I would rather stick with the vote on all things, just to make it clear.
That's fine.
So we got a motion.
I'll make a motion to sign the letter of support for the IURC sewer district.
You want to say who it's for?
Would want to say would be Aqua?
Aqua Indiana.
I'll amend my motion for letter of support for Aqua Indiana for the IURC.
I'll second the motion.
We had discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Kylie, is that something is the letter already ready to be signed, or? Sweet, awesome, all right. Cool.
Okay, moving on. Ambulance facilities, Eliana, Perrysville, other, and testing, asbestos and lead, radon, existing. RJ, I think you had Mr.
Yeah, Mr. Lewis with the
Mr.
chief
Lewis.
of Perrysville. He sent us an email last night.
Last night.
Yeah, late last night. Brendan, you want to come up and talk a little bit if you can?
That you guys had asked to get a quote or an estimate on renovations to the station to be able to house 2 personnel, 24-hour shifts. I was able to get one contractor to come in that short amount of time to be able to get a proposal put together. I've contacted the State Fire Marshal's office. They don't require anything else to my knowledge at this point. I've contacted our insurance company. They do not require anything further to be able to house people there. I contacted the planning committee and about permits or anything along those lines, and none are necessary because it's not changing the footprint, and we're within town limits, so nothing else is needed. He did tell me that if this is to be approved, that he can start on it within the next 1 to 2 weeks and has an estimated date of completion of 4 weeks.
And the estimate was for $40,000, right?
Yeah, that's on the email. I don't have it with me here currently.
I think it's 40. I think it was like 48. I think.
Something.
Yeah.
Was there a monthly fee too also included?
Yeah, we haven't figured that up yet, but I would venture to say with the increase in insurance, which is going to be minimal, the increase in electricity and other utilities, I would think we could be in the $750 to $1,000 range to be able to house it.
Okay. Any other questions?
I've talked to a couple of members, 3 members of the ambulance committee, and they thought this was too far north. You were on that ambulance committee also, right? I didn't get to talk with you about what your opinion was as far as the facility goes.
You're going to gain 7 minutes going further north. You're going to lose 7 minutes going further south, which is originally why we had proposed 3 facilities to start with. But that was 2 years ago when we started that project. We had originally proposed one at the Vermilion Rise, one at the north end of the county, and one at the south end of the county to be able to split the difference. Now, you're going to gain or lose 7 minutes, but that doesn't also necessarily mean that there's going to be a truck at that north station at any given point if it's called out. We run into that consistently now, where the north truck is gone, we have to wait on a truck from the south end of the county to come up. Or we have to call for resources from another county, which is shortchanging them in the short term for them, because we're taking their coverage for their county. So, you know, the 5 to 7 minutes that you're going to either lose or gain at this point seems to be kind of a moot point to me. I mean, ideally, it would be better to have it maybe situated between Perrysville and Cayuga to cover the northern end of the county, to have one centrally located to cover Pelt Township, Dana, Hillsdale, Newport, and then one in the southern end of the county to be able to cover Black Diamond's territory, Clinton City.
So your, your opinion from the ambulance committee side is that it's of no consequence, or
Minimal
that's maybe not
consequence at
the
this point.
way to put it, but
Yeah, it's minimal consequence at this point. I mean, where we were originally had proposed the station to be at when we started this was 2 minutes most south of Perrysville, so you're looking at 5 minutes. So you're not really losing or gaining anything at that point.
I think one of the issues that's there is majority of our calls is in the south end. I mean, overwhelming, and the response.
Yeah, but 70% of your calls are in the south end of the county.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. So,
but you're also looking at extended transport times from the northern end of the county to a receiving facility. So
it's according to which way they're going on that.
I'm sorry?
According to which way they're going on that.
Well, either way, you're still looking at a minimum 15, 20 minutes going to Danville, or 15, 20 minutes going to Clinton, 15 to 20 minutes going to St. Vincent's and Williams.
But the issue we have is if the ambulance in Clinton is out, the response time for them to respond from Perrysville versus Cayuga is significant, is what they're saying.
How is that different from them responding from Clinton to Perrysville now? If the north truck is out, they have to come from the south end.
Well, you got to look at the majority of the calls.
I understand that, but
larger call
the
volume
life
is
is a life
declining.
either way. It doesn't matter if it's going from north to south or south to north. If we're calling for a truck to come from the south end to respond to the north end because our north truck is gone.
Well, and I think I didn't realize how close that other location that you guys had identified was. You know, because I'd spoke up here or talked to you that 5 to 7 minutes, but then I didn't realize the location we talked about building was just south of Perrysville. So
Yeah, it was.
if those two are good enough to work, then this.
Yeah, you're probably less than a mile as a bird flies from the location that we had proposed originally to where the station is at.
It's not like it's going to 1550 north or.
No, we're
somewhere.
not moving it clear up to, say, I-74 corridor.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be nice if we just had a new facility built in North Romaine.
That would be ideal.
Yeah, so
But
we're
that's-
looking at something temporary. I will say that on that, you all were good on that ambulance committee. I really appreciate what you did, and we've been going in the right direction. Just an update on that. The READY grant we applied for, which is what we wanted to do, we don't think we're getting funding now on that. So we're going to have to look at a different route of funding. I'm going to let you know that I appreciate what you guys did. It's not a dead issue. We will get that funded.
what do you do with the facilities once the county moves out of that, assuming we eventually get a permanent facility, or for the ambulance service that is? What happens with the facilities that would be there at Perrysville then?
And they would stay in station, obviously. I mean, they're going to be built in the building. We do use the station in inclement weather to house our personnel to respond depending upon if we have a winter storm coming in. We have people staying there currently anyway. If we have, anticipated severe weather coming in as far as thunderstorms, we tend to house people there for quicker response time. So once that facility would be cleared out, we would just continue to utilize that for our own personnel.
There's no living quarters there now,
No.
bunk beds or anything?
Well, thank you for your comment. And
Did Star or Park comment? I know Park did. Did Star comment on locale,
you start what?
on the locale of the second ambulance station?
I don't think that's been discussed with them.
And I think all they said was they would work with putting one north and one south.
Yeah.
And kind of.
They were flexible. I just
They were-
didn't know if they had a preference.
I think they were just looking at the RFP and just seeing that we always wanted one on the north and one on the south. I think they would just be open to, either one.
Well, the second alternative is the Cayuga current ambulance service building. It does provide us with a continuity of service from today going forward if we would proceed with that. we don't know for a fact that at what point in time, at least through July 1st, sometime between now and July 1st, this facility will come into play.
Yeah.
At least by July 1st anyway, if not before.
I would say that I'm of the opinion, both are, good locations. Cayuga is a turnkey thing, but I do like the idea of Highland Township, Perrysville Fire, presenting us a proposal of, I'm just going to say 48,000. I don't know the exact numbers without looking at them. And even at the high end of maybe $1,000 lease agreement a month, where we're still a lot cheaper than potentially 140. I don't know if that's what we offer them or what we purchased the other one for. And if this ends in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever that thing is, those upgrades at Perrysville Fire stay in place. So not only is that 50,000, we'll just round it up and say 50. It's benefiting a local fire department as well. Maybe they go full-time firefighter. Maybe we do a fire district. I don't know what that looks like in the future, but I think if we can help update a facility and provide ambulance coverage, we're kind of killing two birds with one stone here. And that's kind of where I'm at currently on it, is leaning towards the proposal from Perrysville, pending we can get council funding for the, say, $50,000 plus minus the operating cost.
When we say that to save the county $48,000, I think that it costs the county $48,000.
Well, the same could be said if you purchase a $140,000 building.
No, there's a big difference there, because the money you spend out, you're not getting it back. The ambulance facility here is the cost of buying the ambulance facility that's current versus a return on it. You can almost guarantee you'll get all your money back.
Well,
So there's no cost.
Well, that's I think that's an opinion there. I don't think that's
I think it's a fact.
Well,
Put it
even
real
regardless.
Yeah, regardless of that, I mean, if we're looking at cost savings, I mean, it's $50,000 to renovate, and if you're looking into the future, you can look at that as an investment in the Perrysville Fire Department, because that unit will utilize those facilities in years to come. But anyway, that's my opinion on the matter.
Maybe, can we maybe reverse order here and make a decision on, or assuming we can make a decision today on Star or Park? Those are our two entities that we have on the ambulance service, and maybe pull, depending on how that turns out, pull that.
We're going to make a decision here today on this.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
just delay that for another.
Okay, that's
Just
fine.
decide on who we're going
Okay,
to maybe
I agree.
use, and then
That's fine.
decide on where this goes.
That's fine.
Okay, so we're going to go on down to the ambulance contract, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. The other day we met with Star, and I think they gave a good presentation. The cost, is it okay to say the cost?
For the, yeah.
Yeah. It's about
yes.
$700,000 per year.
Mm-hmm.
They did a good presentation. I thought they did very well. Their flyer, their brochures, and everything was very well put together.
It was a stellar proposal that
Yeah.
they provided, if Star did. I did check with IU Lifeline, Corey Hall. He coordinates a lot of their, well, IU Lifelines. They do more than ambulance, or more than airlift. Everybody thinks of them as the helicopter airlift, but they do the ground also. Transport, they used to do it for Montgomery County, and I asked them why that was no longer part of their service. Montgomery County, more or less, is ran by Crawfordsville, and so when Crawfordsville Fire decided to take over Crawfordsville, and that negated basically most of the runs that we've been outside there, and so it became really, they decided not to quote on that. So they backed out. Primarily, it's kind of like Clinton here. Clinton has most of the runs. Montgomery, or Crawfordsville has most of the runs, so it wasn't worth them proposing on that. They do run in Clay County. They did have, Corey thought highly of them. They did, he said they were their safety valve, but their relationship is not necessarily isn't in the emergency services management or the ambulance services. It's in the transport, I can't think of the word for it, but anyway, it's in the transport for medical transport. So that's where they're real heavy in. That's where they have their ambulances available to them. So anyway, everything that I checked out with them was on par or better than on par. So that's what I found so far.
Okay.
Their proposal is considerably higher though than what we would if we were looking at an alternative too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I will say, I will echo what Britton and Tim said, that they done an excellent presentation, very well thought out. They done excellent, but I think personally, I think at the end of the day, I would like to maybe look at moving forward with Park County and their proposal. I think that probably fits our situation a little bit better, and they've been a good partner as an adjacent county. But again, I just can't give enough kudos to Star. They done a really, really thought out presentation for us.
I think Park, I'm also probably moving toward Park as well. There's a lot of benefits there of being able to go across county, matching mutual aid areas basically, and maybe making those a little more efficient. Or actually, they would be more efficient, not maybe. The cost is in line with what we...
Currently, what we pay out is $45.8 per month for ambulance service, and if this goes through with, which I
think also because of that, the way that if we would sign a contract with them, the way that's set up is that we will recover any cost that's over and above what we'll pay if it's additional cost to it. So we're actually paying for services, and so we're not. It's a very equitable agreement.
Yep.
So
I want to say personally meeting with Park County and speaking to them on this, they were very receptive, and I appreciate that, especially with two counties working together. I think that Vermillion and Park has done very well working together, and I want to continue that. But I was very happy in speaking with them and talking to Julie and Jim Meese, President of Commissioners, that day. I was very happy to hear them be very receptive to helping us out, and I think that's a big key to all government, especially county governments. It seems like we all have fences around each other, and why can't we work together? So this is, I'm really excited about this. I think it's something that will work out really good for both counties. In discussion with them, they're here to help us, and that's the biggest thing. I think that's commendable in what they want to do. So I am, as far as that, the Star has presented information to us, and I appreciate that. I think it's good reference material. And with Park, as RJ said, I think that's the way that we ought to go. And that's where I'm at on that. So, Britton.
I'll make a motion. We have a contract proposal in front of us now that we've gone through, and I believe it's in order, and I make a motion that we approve that contract and sign it accordingly.
I'll second the motion.
Sure. I think we had a good discussion about that. I think it's well thought out. A very good plan for everybody. Really will. So, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we can go back to the building, I guess.
Okay.
We
With Park
did-
County providing our services at this point, Julie, would you care to comment on the location of the services as far as the northern portion, or even the south for that matter? We have issues with both locations at this point as far as the ambulances being housed. Anyway, would you like to make any comments, or would you rather not?
Come up here
It's
to the
you.
mic, please.
Not to put you on the spot.
You're going to be on the spot. You must get used to it.
So I think I've told you guys before, my biggest concern is operationally, and I know Britton's looked into this, I'm sure Brent has as well. Neither county qualifies to have really a third ambulance, but our run volume is very high, especially this time of year. It's very, very high. I know Ileana is too right now. What I would like to do, taken over, is to blur the county lines, but in order to do that, we need to be near highways to get across the river easily. So I would prefer to have 234, 36, 163 areas covered. Park County is right on 36. That gives us quick access into Dana, St. Bernice, some of the middle part of your county. If we have somebody near 234, that gives them access to the northern portion of our county as well. So then we're splitting our call volume between 3 ambulances, even though we don't have 3 stations in Vermilion County, we still have 3 stations total now. So I would like to see us stay near those highways to make it easy to get across and to have our mutual aid trucks going back and forth. I did just find out, and I tried to get more information, so the House, Indiana House, is currently working on, well, I think they released the House bill. There's information due back to the House by July 1st for ambulance coverage, and it's not just ambulances. The way they've worded it, it's ambulances, but it's also non-transport certified units, which would be our fire departments. Because the state is working on, they're also going to start blurring our districts, and they're going to go by response times. So the state's going to try to make that a state initiative to send the closest ambulance no matter what county you're in or what district you cover. So I think we're 1 or 2 steps ahead if we try to keep those 3 highway areas covered so that we can get east to west and north and south within each county.
I thought it'd take 10 years, but maybe it'll only take another year.
Yeah, well, the information
that
is
is
due
the
back
state.
to the state by July 1st, and then that information then goes to the EMS division for their committee. So it will take a while for them to do the study, but a lot of the information that they're requiring is already compiled. So I think a lot of their data points are already covered, really. So I don't think it'll take as long as we're used to seeing.
So Julie, from that truck from Rockville, that's what you mean covering the 36 area? It's so close that it could cover Hillsdale, East Hill, Dana,
Oh, yeah.
Hillsdale area really quick, and that's kind of our coverage area anyway with Newport, it's kind of in that middle area.
Mhm.
So is it your opinion that if the station, or what we'll call it a station, Highland Township up at Perrysville, it's right on 32 and basically 63, if we blur those lines, they can still cover the 234 area. They're probably only, 5 minutes, 7 minutes from there. Is it still your opinion that it needs to be in Cayuga with Park County being able to cover that 36 area?
I would prefer it be Cayuga. I think, and I need to drive it again probably, but once you get beyond 234 in Park County, well, Park County goes up to 234, it crosses it in some areas, comes back down, but it's very, very rural, and it's very hard to access those areas. So yes, it's 5 to 7 minutes to come down to 234, but then you come across and you're looking at several minutes to get back up through those wooded areas that we cover.
Okay.
So unfortunately, we see a lot of that, especially like around the lakes and things where it's just curvy, windy gravel roads. So that adds to your response time.
Yeah, and I know mutual aid already. I think I know just from my brother serving on the Cayuga Fire Department, they cover Lodi and even help with Kingman a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's almost like it's an immediate. They just go ahead and go. A lot of times because it just makes more sense to go right there instead of bringing something from clear from.
I've always been like patient care advocate.
Yeah.
It needs to be what's best for the patient. It seems silly to me to send an ambulance that's 30 minutes away when you've got one 2 minutes across the river.
Yeah.
If it's my family, I want whoever can get there the quickest. I don't care what district they're in. So that's my thought process.
It's just it's such a good setup that we can work together. And just like Clinton, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, if someone is a call come to Lyford, it's going to be called out of Park County, out of your call goes into Park County responds.
Mm-hmm.
When you got Clinton right across the river, why aren't we doing this? And this really puts our response time and working together. It should work better for everybody.
Well, and like I said, I think the state's going to move towards that being.
They ought to.
It's going to be mandated anyway eventually, so we might as well be prepared for that to come down. And I agree, it should have always been that way.
Right.
I understand, you've got taxing districts, you've got, taxpayers that want to make sure that their money is providing, they're getting their money's worth, I guess, out of service, but also get somebody there
Also
as quick as you can.
A little bit about the support of Park County. I think it's good to mention that it was passed by the commission by 100%. Is it true?
Mm-hmm. The
And
commissioners were on board as long as I was willing to do it, and as long as our attorney agreed with the contract and your attorney agreed with the contract, they were on board. The council is on board for the funding that we have set up and the way that that's going to work. So our entire county bodies are both on board.
Okay, one of the other things to discuss is the existing employees can be absorbed into,
Yes, and will be.
and they will, and also they will, most of them will have somewhat of a raise.
So we pay a set amount. Right now, I think they're kind of on a fluctuated pay based on years of service, based on the need at the time that they were hired, several different things. But we pay a fixed amount for each tier. So our basic EMTs make a certain amount, our paramedics make a certain amount, and then our field supervisors make a certain amount, and it stays that way across the board. And then 5, 10, and 15 years of service with our county, you get longevity bonus or a longevity stipend added onto your salary. So that's where our years of service comes into play.
And they also have benefits, something that
Full
was an issue
medical,
before.
dental, health, life insurance, and supplemental insurance if they choose to take it, yes.
And that is 100% approved from the people there in the existing, or they're all in favor of doing?
Yep, so I talked to them to see, because in order for me to build a mock budget and try to get as close as I could, to make sure that we were going to be covered both ways for both counties, I talked to all of the employees and I said, you know, this is a potential. Would you want to work for us if we cover Vermilion County? And 100% of the full-time employees said yes, and several of the part-time, which we're so close, we already share employees. So some of your full-time employees in Vermilion are already part-time at Park County. Some of my full-time employees are already part-time in Vermilion. So at least they all know the area already. So there should not be any interruption of service at all.
And the other thing with an ambulance, I think that we got our new ambulance in. Have you seen it yet?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, so I'll let Britt see. Have you seen it, RJ?
I have not.
Mhm. But that ambulance will, according to what the agreement is, be leased to you guys for $1.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll take care of all the maintenance, everything will be your responsibility.
All the normal service. Now, if like major maintenance, if something happens, we'll have to come to an agreement then. But
Right.
yes, all the service, all of the inspections, everything that's normal, yes, we will take care of.
And the basic agreement was, number one, we had to have at least one ambulance ready by that date, so we've done that.
Mm-hmm.
I know that we're talking about another one too in the future. But I don't know, it's a good, go ahead, Bert.
Yeah, our topic is facilities right now. We can come back to that, all of this discussion, but thank you,
My
Julie.
preference would be to keep them, for ease of operation, would be to keep them near the 3 highways that go across the river. That would be my preference. If that's not doable, it's just a preference, it's not a requirement, so that would be my preference.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, we need to bring up each one for a vote and make a decision. So if someone make a recommendation, it'll be an up, down vote, and someone else make a recommendation, we'll vote on it.
I'll make a recommendation that we extend an offer to the Shaughnessy's for the facility, existing facility in Cayuga.
For X amount?
Well, up to 140,000.
Okay.
It can be less, that'd be fine.
I'll second that discussion. I think that one of the biggest things is doing all this is who's going to take care of all the logistics and all the changes. I mean, if you got something that's working and they're used to it, it's there. Logistic, I still think it's a better response time to South, where most volume of your calls are. Number two is, in dealing with real estate for years, this is an investment that I think will have a same return on as a purchase. And real estate property values, and I've been doing it for years, and I see that this is a purchase and with a return on it, and then whenever we decide to build a new one, so we can get our money back. And so really the cost is minimal, and that's where I'm at. So
What I see is that it's more of a continuity of service.
Yeah.
With this, we anticipate the contract to go through July 1st, but there are some bumps in the road that could happen before July 1st inside May here, for that matter, that would possibly preclude or have to maybe move a little quicker than what we wanted to at this point, or what we're currently planning for. So looking at the subjective move to cover all bases, I think that this would be probably a better solution at this point, given that things can happen from day to day up until the time that the contract expires. Anyway, I think that's one of the primary, not the only reason. There's some other reasons, but I
RJ,
think that's the reason.
Yeah. Again, as I kind of said earlier, I don't want to be too repetitive, but I do prefer the Perrysville location. One for cost, $50,000, even at the annual lease. You're looking at maybe $12,000 a year. Contractor could be all said and done in 6 months. Not 6 months, good Lord. 6 weeks. Let me correct myself there. 6 weeks.
You're right.
Yeah,
6 months it can be done.
6 months, yeah. So I still prefer that. I do think Hugo is a good location. There is that continuity. But with the potential cost of $140,000 and spending $50,000 and $12,000 the first year, that is a cost savings to the county, and it's an investment into one of our local fire departments. So yeah, I still would prefer that option, but like I said, I respect the choices of.
One point to that though is the lease payments. We still will have electric, gas.
Even for that, for this
utilities,
location, yeah.
So we'll still have expenses.
Yeah. So if we just.
Not to.
Yeah. Oh, no problem. I mean, the cost, if we're going to take that out, then it's $50,000 compared to potentially $140,000, depending on, unless we can get a bot cheaper than $140,000. But yeah, in closing, I just want to say thanks to Brent Lewis and the members of the Perrysville Fire Department on really short notice putting together a proposal. It's greatly appreciated, so thank you for that.
Yeah, also, I thank you too, Brent, for what you did. That's important.
Yeah,
It's good to
no,
have good
yeah,
information
thank
from
you.
both, and I appreciate RJ bringing up an option, and I appreciate that. So call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
With that said, thank you, Brent, for stepping up. This is not a dead issue. Yet,
Temporary thing.
anyway, it's some more discussion needs to be had community-wide, not just at Perrysville, but across the county as to some of what's possible anyway. So, and I think what your step is one of those type of steps anyway. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I did try to stop by the other day, but I called, but anyway, I didn't get a hold of you.
I just happened to be in the county today, so
I didn't have the code either. So.
I came by and he was going, everybody's busy. I apologize, not giving enough notice when I did come, but. Okay, so we need to get back to the other question. Britt brought up testing for asbestos and lead radon in that building.
I've asked for a proposal from the company that we did the same thing here at the annex, but I don't know that I have a response yet.
You already ordered it or can't order it? Can you go ahead and order it?
I can. It'll be, I think what we paid before was just under $1,500. I don't know if the prices have changed for the lead and asbestos. It's $150 to $200 for the radon.
Okay.
Radon's not an issue of getting it done quickly. It's more the lead and asbestos.
Well, we need to approve that, or do we need to?
If you want me to proceed with that, I can.
I think any
Within
test.
that framework.
Yeah, I think any testing that needs done probably should be done in order, I would say.
You have something by next meeting, or?
I don't know if the testing will be done by next meeting, but I don't know. I'll have to. I have an inquiry in. I don't have the answers yet.
Okay.
Costs.
We'll wait to hear back from you on that.
I'm just reiterating what our costs were when
Right.
we did the annex.
Right.
One other thing while we have Julie here is this contract is for basically until the end of the calendar year, starting again potentially starting January 1st. It goes into perpetuity for that. We need to enter into some discussion at some point between now and the end of the year as to interfacing with since we're providing assets and so forth, that it may be best to have a board do this instead of having 3 commissioners that are
Yeah.
changing, potentially all 3 of us may be changed out, well, at least one of us anyway, for next year, but potentially all 3 commissioners will be new next year. And then council will have a little bit of a change. Same thing with Park County, they'll have the potential of changing back and forth in order to provide continuity of service, continuity of contract, continuity of purpose. I think we need to think about how we might better administer our ambulance service, and that instead of being, I think that'd be better done by a board. How that board would look, I'm not sure, but I think we need to enter into some discussions and looking at that potential. And we have not talked about that per se. It's something that I think, I'm not saying we do it, I'm just saying we need to start a discussion as how that might look.
I think a board is more if you have a bi-county ambulance service, but this is a contract situation, so.
It
would
is,
be
but we're also providing facilities though.
A contract manager, I think is more.
Okay, I think we need to enter into a discussion,
Yeah.
because we have it's more than a contract, because we have assets involved in this contract. So, and that may be a better way of doing it. I'm just saying we need to think about that before the end of the year anyway.
Another good thing is the same insurance company is with both counties, so that helps too.
That's been really nice to get information because George already has the insight on both counties. So when I was building the budget, I said, hey, what's it going to cost for us to add? And he said, I can tell you exactly because I have both counties. So that was very nice.
So with the amount that, the 45.8 that we are proposing to pay per month, it's something that you think is a workable?
Yeah, the initial startup is what's going to be the shocker for everyone, I think, because there's not going to be any money in that fund, obviously. So just the startup of getting everything going until you get, it's about 30 days for the most part, once you start billing insurances and getting your revenue and things coming in regularly. For us, it'll be about 30 days because it's the same billing company that we'll be utilizing, so all of our accounts are already active with them. It's going to be, startup where there's zero money in that account, and then it's going to start flowing, and I think it's going to be covered. I honestly, my hope, and I think based on the budget, I think we're going to come very close to being even or being operating under the budget that we set with that money. So I think I'm hoping it might be hard to do by October, November to come to the table and have a discussion because we're not going to have very many months in yet, but by next year I think we'll be able to come to the table and equalize that amount, because we don't want it to cost your county a fortune, and it can't cost our taxpayers their money to provide services to Vermilion County. So I think that we can come to the table and equalize that amount, and it'll be less.
Well, the big thing too is we'll have accurate information on
Oh yeah.
actual income. We'll know. And the other thing is then we can propose or come up with a cost for a budget that the council can see that every year this is going to be our contribution, with the replacement of ambulances or whatever. And I think that
Yeah, the rolling equipment costs are usually the if you don't have those scheduled out every 10 years or so, and divide those big expenses into the 10 years, then it catches up to you quickly. But as long as, and I provide that to my county, I would provide it to yours as well for the ambulances and the facilities, and which facilities I think the South Station is a rental, so I think Clinton probably takes care of most of that. But
one of the things I think that's commendable what Park County does is, and you can explain it, that for people in the county to actually get $100 off for, you want to explain that?
So the way that we do our billing is every level, the way the state allows it, I guess, every level of service has its own base amount. And because our county, the people that live in our county, pay taxes that support our ambulance service, that's what we work off of, they get $100 off of that base amount. So we have a resident versus a non-resident fee, and all of our citizens get $100 off that base account because they're already paying taxes that support our service. And we're going to do the same in Vermilion County. We pick them up in Vermilion County, they're a Vermilion County resident, it's $100 off because their taxes are supporting that service.
Good.
we have an opportunity, and Julie's provided us with a list of medical supplies that Ileana currently has. Those supplies have value to them, of which she's identified which ones can be used to stop the ambulance at the beginning and/or inventory. With that being said, are we interested in negotiating with Ileana? They've given us a price as to what they would like for those, but I'm not sure we're willing to pay the prices that they've got.
Yeah, I would entertain it at Julie's or somebody's. What do you want to say? Your idea of what the things cost, because I have no idea. You know, I've looked at this price guide that Eric's provided, and I have no earthly idea if it's. I can look at certain stuff and tell that it's high, but other stuff, just like you can't go to Amazon and buy it. I mean, some of the stuff is medical grade, so maybe it is priced right. But I would be all right entering into some form of negotiation, but I can't. I don't know anything about it, so.
I would say, based on responsibility, Park County accepting responsibilities, I think it's totally their decision if they want to entertain that, because they're the ones handling these things and they know if there's any risk involved, and I wouldn't want to be making any decision on anything buying it, which they're assuming and taking control of.
Is Park County willing to purchase those? And if there's
I
an
have to get
agreement.
approval. I can't speak on behalf of my
Okay.
commissioners.
So
I have to
what
get
you're
approval.
saying, like here, you saying Vermillion County's not willing to purchase these?
No, I'm saying.
Go ahead.
Go first, Mark. Okay.
I don't mind Vermillion County purchasing, but there's got to be someone that does it on our behalf, whether it's Julie, whether it's Brent, whether it's somebody that has some knowledge of that says, hey, the Board of Vermillion County Commissioners authorized $10,000 for whatever, and let them negotiate that, because I don't know anything about those costs.
Yeah, I'm just getting back to whether we want to
I think there's.
invest as far as Vermillion County money's
I think if someone says they're good and they can be used, then I think if we can purchase them at a reasonable price, yeah.
I think from a medical standpoint, anything that that's going to be used by Park County, they ought to be the one making a decision if it's something they want to accept responsibility for.
they've done that.
Yeah, if they do, and I think I'd like to see them come up, look at it and see what they want and could need, and come back to us and make that recommendation.
We also have the non-medical things that they have, all the way from appliances to beds, tables.
Mark O'Hara, I
et
think's on
cetera.
vacation, isn't
Hmm?
he? Mark O'Hara's on
He was
vacation.
putting something together, wasn't he?
Yeah, Mark O'Hara's got some stuff.
He sent something, I've not looked at it yet, but an evaluation. We also have Thyman, the people who provided our jail furniture and so forth, all the support items that weren't jail related or contract related to that. We have them on board too if we want to use them. We have what's called Omnibus. It's a co-op, government co-op that we use for the jail. Basically, they already bid these things out, and so you can go to that, and it's a non-taxable items, and it's already been bid, and you can just go through and you'll see the prices as you go through there. You can agree or don't agree. You just either purchase or you don't.
Anything to do with the building itself, I think that's something we can make decision as internal furnishing. I think you care about that, but anything to do with medical, I think we ought to give the list to Park County. They go through and figure out what.
That's fine, yeah.
You know what I mean?
She has it.
What do you think about that, RJ?
I agree with that. I mean, I think somebody with knowledge, I think that's a good thing. Yeah, furniture, I think we can probably look at and realize if it's
Are you
worth.
all right doing that?
I've already sent it back to you, I think.
I know, but you're not negotiating with me.
No, I'm fine with that.
Hmm?
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Again, back to the other non-medical items, how do we want to handle those things?
Mark O'Hara has got the paperwork on that, and he's got all of it drawn up, and I would, since he's done that work, I would respect him in that decision
Do
making,
that,
I
okay.
think.
That's I think he's back next Saturday.
I think so.
Something like that. Okay. Anything, Julie?
Thank you.
You're welcome. So
Thank
are
you.
you guys gonna sign the contracts that I sent? I sent this morning the edit that Brenda requested about the Pay Friday.
Mhm.
because our meeting is
We'll
tonight
sign
at
it
4,
today.
so then I can take
Do
it
you have a
back.
copy of that?
So we're in agreement in signing today?
We already approved it, didn't we?
Yeah,
I
but
know,
it
but-
needs signed, but you don't have it. Was it, did you email just us three?
I emailed the 3 of you and Brenda, and she's probably
Well, I
not here
can,
today.
you don't have it, or you do have it?
Okay, we'll
I think I have it on this.
So we're moving on with that situation, right?
We haven't Mark, is Mark obliging us to this, or he's bringing it back to us?
Mark, what?
I think he's bringing it back
Bring
to
it
us.
back.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of
They'll
stuff. to do.
negotiate, bring it
What
back.
what I
That's
was
fine.
recommending, and, you know, you buy something that's in good condition, if you can buy 50%, at least 50% of the cost of new, and it's in good condition, that's some kind of a thing I have in my head. You know, I'm not a furniture man.
It's a negotiation, that's fine.
Okay.
We'll see what he has.
So we can
Back with it.
can we say that we're gonna let him take care of negotiation on the internal furniture, and let him come up with that solution? Is that fair?
Is he gonna bring it back to us, or
Yeah.
he's gonna make the decision?
No, he'll bring it back to
Yeah,
us.
so I'm
That's
okay with
fine.
him bringing it back,
Yeah.
yeah, because we.
Okay.
That's fine.
I mean, if there's no, he's 3 or 4 is trying to research something instead of just having him do it, which
He's been doing it.
make it easier for all of us.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay. The ambulance purchase, we've already purchased a new ambulance for, was it 260? Right around there, right?
I'd have to go back to look.
256, somewhere in that area. Mark O'Hare did take possession of that, and it is in Key. Is it there in the emergency response buildings where you
Mhm.
have that?
Yeah.
So, can we go ahead and say it's okay for Park County to start doing the decals and putting them, getting all set up too?
I think we need to have a lease agreement signed first.
You don't have to come back up here if you want to speak.
It's part of our health program.
Get your steps in for the day.
Oh, I get those on 20. I think we need to have a lease agreement signed
Okay.
before we do that, and
Okay.
it's not done being edited yet. I will finish that today.
Okay.
Oh, I thought it was done.
I sent you guys the edited, the still being edited version, so it wasn't
Oh.
done, and asked if there were anything that you guys requested or required be added to the contract. Not the ambulance contract, for the service, just the lease agreement for the ambulance.
Oh, well, I'm not ready for that.
So I think we need to wait,
Yeah,
I don't wanna put
Okay, that's
details on
fine.
it until that's signed.
I just open up some discussion on it.
Yep.
Another thing while you're up here, I think that needs to be mentioned, in speaking with Jim Meese in Park County, they told us that eventually if we want to take it back over any time, practically, we can take it back and do our own thing.
Mhm.
And I think it's a great, unbelievable gesture by Park County in that respect to realize that if we want to change in the future, we can change, and if not, we can continue. And so I think that's another important point in this whole situation, so. Okay, so we'll wait on the addressing
One thing
that
that
as
we
far as-
still, well, by September, we need another ambulance on board. They are popping up every once in a while, but we don't know that come September, if we don't make an obligation here soon, that
Right.
we're gonna have one available to us. Park County will help us, but it'd be nice by July 1st to actually have
Right.
one on board. Not waiting till September with the possibility. We do still, last I checked anyway, I sent you a spreadsheet with what is available as of that, at the time I sent it to you anyway. We still have 2 new ones from Fire Service. We have 1 remount from Emergency Vehicles Plus and 1 remount from 94 Services.
And that changes daily.
It could. You call right now and they may not be available, but we have 4 remounts available to us, actually 5 remounts available to us and 2 new ones right now.
So what was the date we need to have the second one? Is that
So we need to have it in service by Labor Day weekend
okay?
for the Little Italy Festival. I would like to see it, it's gonna take at least 2 to 3 weeks to get decals on, get it stocked, get it inspected, and get it in service. So, I mean, August would be, I would like to see it by August if possible. Again, we're trying to source our own ambulance, so I know how difficult it is.
But we couldn't really do anything until we made this decision today, so now the next step is progressing that way.
Yeah. We're there.
We're there.
So sometime between now and the end of the month, we should be making a decision. Again, these will go away at some point.
I think what we need to do is go back to the council and say we need 275 or 280 to get another one, or 300, and go back and get that agreement with the council to do that. It gives us the opening, the access to purchase, and then that way there we can. What do you think, RJ?
Well, we have
No.
one EV
I agree
Plus
with
right
that.
now that's a Lifeline, the same type of box that we've got now, or same make. There's some
It's
differences.
similar setup.
Yeah.
It's similar to the one that, a little bit different, but similar to the one that you
Getting
already
back to
purchased.
the another different question we made, and I guess I made an error when I said this, but according to information I got, but the difference between a new chassis with a new box and a new chassis rebuilt box is only like 20,000 or something. But it used to be like 100,000.
It used to be, so when was it, 3 years ago? 2 years ago, I guess. We paid a total of $86,000, and that was to take a van chassis and box and mount that on a truck chassis, which means they have to do a lot of modifications to the box. And
That was a used box put on a new.
Put on a brand new
So it
truck
cost you
chassis.
$86,000 for a new box and mount.
$86,000 for the chassis and the mount, and all the modifications that it took for them to get it from the van chassis style to the truck chassis, total. And now you can't, correct me if I'm wrong, Britton, but you can't find a remount for under $280,000. $271,000, I think is.
We have one.
So what is the difference between a remount box and just a brand new chassis, new box? Is it 20,000?
It can be anywhere from 70,000 to zero.
Oh.
We have remounts that cost more than a brand new ambulance and box, and we have the cheapest one we have right now is 195,000, and the new one is 271,000. There are differences between them, but anyway. If you're just looking
It
at
used
bulk
to be,
numbers.
You know, you were still looking at $300,000 to buy a new ambulance or $86,000 to remount, so it was kind of a no-brainer if you had a decent box.
So if we would go to council and say we want $300,000, that would be a good figure that you could probably say.
$300,000 should be, yeah, that should cover.
Okay.
Now, if you're looking for a brand new one that's gonna take 3 years to get because you ordered, it's gonna be well above $300,000, but
271 right now. We do have two new ones available
that's
to
not
us.
custom. Those are already on the line.
Yes,
You can customize certain parts of them, but they're already.
and that doesn't include the striker or any of the other
Right.
stuff with it.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah, you'll have to factor in, I forgot about the striker equipment too.
Can you put us on the agenda for next council meeting for that?
we're already on it.
That'll be the next one. 'Cause
Well,
that-
for monies, yes,
Yeah.
but
Because
not
that's for the
not for
building.
discussion. No.
Yeah. Not so much to get a decision on, but let them know this is where we're going and let them have time to think about it. So,
Well, then they might, if they're, moving in that direction, they could call a special meeting as well, advertise, and you could get one potentially before the next council meeting.
Well, I'm also Republic. They sent it got sometime last night. Republic and Finance has sent us numbers on the financing or leasing of the vehicles, and so is First
one of the
Financial.
recommendations I would make is whatever you find, let Julie know so she knows too, and she has some type of a input on the decisions, because they're going to be taking care of that responsibility, and I think that's important, which I know you do it anyway. It seems like you've got the lead on it anyway, right, as far as getting these ambulances?
Yeah, we haven't been making probably any moves that Julie hasn't been involved in, I know of, other than the financing end of it. Even then, I think you've been quasi-involved with that through your own
Probably.
services, so.
I did send you sent out the striker equipment, I think it's the maintenance agreement. I did send that for clarification. I forgot to forward you the email. So I will forward that back to you because they did not have the invoice laid out correctly.
It was different than what I remember it to be, so, or what we've talked about.
Yeah.
We
it
do
was
have,
not-
what it is Stryker has a maintenance agreement that if you don't keep up with that, then at the end of the period, you're kind of dead in the water. And plus, liability-wise, it's an issue too if you don't maintain the equipment. So that's another thing that
And
they'll
when-
should insist on, probably.
We talked to $300,000 as any other cost that would have to be put in an ambulance. But $300,000 cover it and put it on the road. Or is there any other costs you think that we're not talking about that needs to be addressed?
300,000, up to 300,000 for the ambulance plus the striker equipment. And I can't remember off the top of my head what that is.
128,000.
There you go. And then, just the startup supplies. So, I mean, if we choose to work with Eric, or I guess Eric chooses to accept an offer.
So the striker equipment loan's 120.
Wow. Is that just for one ambulance?
Per ambulance. That's the quote we got from Stryker. Now, we did do better on this, on the last ambulance, where the manufacturer, or the, we call them remanufacturer anyway, put the Stryker equipment and a power cot and batteries into it. It's a little better than that. I do have those prices.
It's amazing that striker stuff costs $120,000.
It does include, you have to read the agreement. But
Yeah.
anyway, we did a little better than that on that, but we'll still be dealing with Zach on the maintenance agreements here in town.
Yeah, as long as they're within date, he can still do the maintenance agreements.
And also just rough, if we look at an ambulance, you're talking about 10 years of life expectancy, rough.
Yeah.
Be some type of cost per year, you know, you got 10-year life expectancy.
That's
You can get your
council, but yeah,
budgets,
the
you can
council
figure
needs to
amounts
plan
in
on
there.
that turnout in 10 years.
Does the striker thing last longer than that? Or?
No, well, there's 7 years, but if you keep the maintenance up, and depending on usage, there's some caveats to it, but basically you can extend it to 10 years.
So you're saying a striker, if you buy a new striker unit,
And you
with an
maintain
ambulance,
it.
it's probably going to be the same life expectancy of the unit. Because 10 years
When you get to 10
depreciation.
years, you'll be turning it out.
Okay.
But it's 7 years, and then if it's maintained, so forth, whatever caveats are in the agreement, then you can extend it to 10, right? Yeah. If you miss a year in there, though, you kind of screwed up.
Yeah, as long as you can prove the service and the hours. They go a lot based on the hours of use. And they do that when they come to do their yearly service. So they'll check everything and they'll make sure that it's been kept in good working order and that the hours, because for us, we're not going to put as many hours on it as an inner city department would, where it's being used constantly. So typically, it's pretty easy for us to extend 3 years on those items to get up to a 10-year item.
It also includes like battery replacements are in that maintenance agreement, so it's not just a warranty thing, it's repair.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys are familiar, the cots actually run on, it kind of looks like a DeWalt battery. And we have to have chargers for those. So, as you guys I'm sure know, those are expensive, the batteries to replace. And it's free replacement for the entire time that you have it.
If you want to call it free.
Well, yeah,
What is the
it's
maintenance?
not free, but they do replace it.
What is the maintenance cost as far as them maintaining those, to keep in warranty or whatever it is, or how much is a year? Do you know what that is roughly?
For the power load, it's $4,000. For the power cot, so it's about, oh, that's for the life pack. Probably about $7,800
Per year, per unit?
That per year? Yes, per year.
For 3 years?
Nope, yeah, 3 years.
It's roughly $2,500 a year. Okay.
And it's, I think, about $78,000 for the power load power cot system without the heart monitor per ambulance.
Wow.
Yeah.
Costly equipment.
you know, the ambulance isn't a big cost really. Do we want to act on an ambulance or not?
What do you mean?
Of the ones that were sent, do we want to make an offer on any of these?
I don't think we need to go line out funding before we do anything, you know, because we do have
It's all
time, we do have some
subject to
time here.
Yeah.
And to,
That time is.
I know, it'll be here before we know.
Well, if we were to make an offer on any of these, whatever the company may be, if you call them and say, I'm subject to council funding at, I don't know what meeting it is, do you think they'll hold it subject to funding? Yeah,
No.
so,
Nobody has so far. They basically say, when you make a commitment, then I make a commitment, they'll make a commitment. to
that's what I was getting
provide
at,
it to
is you kind of want to wait for the council. then.
Subject to funding is, okay, that just means somebody else is on the line, they better buy it now.
That's what I was getting at, is if they were giving you a 30-day period to purchase
They're
it.
not tying them up now.
No.
Or I have not run it, not to say somebody wouldn't, but so far nobody has.
That would be the
done
only
that.
way I would be open to it, is if they would hold it until the council, because I'd hate for the council to, yeah, here's
The
200,
council might
here's,
say, they could say no.
here's
So,
200,000.
It's not fair.
And our alternatives there are used ones out there, so
Yeah. And I really don't have no problem with that, is, you know, if there was, you know, low mileage of 20,000, you ain't gonna
there's a
find
reason they're
anything.
used. So, buyer beware.
I think the thing is to go to council, get some budget money approved, and then say,
We will be getting prices back this week on the potential of remounting the Ilianum, so those should come back this week.
what's your opinion on their box? Do they have one good box?
Yeah, there was one that's a decent box that can be remounted.
Well,
and be
that's
in
something
good condition.
that's something we really need to address, because if you believe that box has value and you think we ought to do it, that's something we ought to be looking at on a remount instead of a.
We are looking at it. We're
Okay.
looking at, we're getting prices on all three of them, regardless of what.
But I'm saying that's going to make a difference in the cost.
Well, potentially. It depends on what they come back with for their remount costs.
Well, you gotta remember, then we have to buy it from Iliana, so you got the remount cost and then you got the purchase price
Right.
too, so.
The chassis is just that
You gotta
price
add them
anyway.
together.
What chassis ring, about 75,000 or something like that?
It depends on what type of chassis you want. So it's
We're going with all gas.
for that size box, but do you want van or truck? Truck, you can get 4-wheel drive or 2-wheel drive. So it
And
depends
you
on the
also said that you
options.
didn't recommend 4-wheel drive, didn't you?
That
Someone
was
said it.
me.
Someone did.
I said that, not.
I said Vermilion County doesn't currently have 4-wheel drive, but
Just
for our
public?
county, we do have.
So all yours is 4-wheel drive?
Our two main trucks are 4-wheel drive. But our county, we have more kind of crazy roads
Yeah.
over there for wintertime driving. Over here, it's easier to get places off of a highway, which is amazing.
Right.
We don't really have that
Okay.
luxury.
So you don't
in
think the
some of our
4-wheel drive is
areas.
important?
I don't think.
Okay, okay.
When I was talking to some of the staff, they said they've not had issues not having 4-wheel drive ambulance, that it's never come up to be an issue for them.
It's
So,
been
I
mild
don't-
winters here too, so.
True.
We don't have the roads are in decent shape to our ambulances can get down, it's just winter inclement weather.
Yeah.
So.
And at that point, we've always had a backup plan where we would run a highway truck, or somebody would run ahead of our ambulance to make sure we could get in, or a fire department with 4-wheel drive vehicle could potentially bring the patient out to the point that the ambulance could make it to safely. So there are other options.
Sure.
Well, a question that we have had several times, and I've been addressed this with transfers. And speaking with local hospital, we was going to get together and put a press release out about it, but it never happened. But I think a misconception that people have is that the county is responsible for transfers. And under your situation, I assume it would still be the same, right? Number one thing, you respond to emergency calls, and that is your number one priority.
Number one priority is always going to be the 911 emergency calls. Now, I've told you before, we have patients that can't make it home any way other than ambulance because they're bedbound for any number of reasons. And we do make an attempt to bring those patients home, but we can't make a promise that we're not going to be on an emergency call. So we do make an attempt to bring those patients home. We also make an attempt to help with emergency transfers. So if the hospital has a patient and say they're having a heart attack or delivering a baby, something that Union Clinton, not just delivering a baby, but complications of childbirth. And it's not something that Union of Clinton can handle in their facility. We will do an emergency transfer to Union Terre Haute Regional, whichever hospital is closest that can handle that emergency. So we do help with those, but we are not required to do transfers, inter-facility transfers.
No, I think that there needs to be a statement made what our position is on that, because people really don't know. Because a lot of times they'll come in when they can't get transferred, they automatically start coming back to the county and say the county's responsible. In my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, but when they're under the care of that hospital is the one making the decision to transfer them or not. If they see it as an emergency, they can make that happen, correct?
Well, the hospitals are having a real difficult time finding providers that can do transfers.
Okay.
That leads back to staffing shortages of a lot of the private contract ambulances that do the transfers. Staffing shortages and a ton of transfers lined up for them. So I think I would be careful putting a position out publicly other than we will do our best to help where we can, but our primary focus is going to be emergency coverage of both counties.
But from a legal standpoint, John,
Yes.
we as a county are responsible for emergency responding. We're not responsible for transfers.
I don't even know that we're required to have an ambulance service. I think it's just something that the voters demand that we provide. But I don't know if there's even a legal requirement that we provide an ambulance service in the first place.
Okay.
There's one line in statutes, and it doesn't say that counties are responsible for that. But there's.
I'm just saying it. To me, when I'm addressed with a question, I believe I owe them people an answer. And I haven't got that answer. I haven't been able to say it, with everybody, the right people in the right places to say this is our policy as far as transfers.
So here's what I will tell you as far as our operations. Our operations are based on pre-hospital emergency conditions. So our focus is pre-hospital. Not saying that we won't help when we can, not saying that we won't do emergency transfers, but our primary focus is going to be pre-hospital. And then, the transfer situation, again, will help when we can, but we have to be available to the community that needs us.
Yeah, well, I think we've all been asked that question, like, hey, why is this service doing a transfer? But I think to Tim's point, it's much easier to tell the taxpayers, hey, whether it's Park County, Ileana, whoever, they're going to provide 911 coverage first and foremost. And then if there's an emergent transfer and you have the truck available, you'll do it. But if you're down to one truck in the county, I would assume potentially you probably won't sacrifice 911 coverage for that transfer. You'll tell them to call TransCare or call another agency. And I think that's the answer. We probably just 911 first and foremost. But if you or me is having a heart attack in Clinton, that may, and when you have the trucks available, then if a transfer is needed, you guys will help with that.
Yes. So long as the trucks are available.
As long as, you're not going to sacrifice 911 coverage for a transfer.
Now, I will say, we will take a truck out of county to do an emergency transfer.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You just don't want to just make it a blanket thing because it's
No,
kind
I
of
mean,
custom. It's,
yeah.
you never know what's going to happen.
You have to
But-
be really careful if you lock yourself into that.
Yeah.
But when they're there, they're under direction, they're under control, they're under the supervision of the hospital. And the hospital has a right to make that decision and change it to emergency to get it moved, right?
Well, I don't think they can change it to emergency just to get it moved. It has to
No, but I
actually
mean,
be
if
emergency.
it becomes emergency,
No,
Yeah, if their
They do-
condition deteriorates or something
Yeah.
changes, then yes, it can
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, that's
They
what I'm
can't upgrade
saying.
it to an emergency.
no,
just
I'm
to
saying they
have-
just can't change it. I'm saying if someone's there and they need a transfer and they're already there, then they can make that decision to call y'all in to get it done.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I work with the hospital a lot. I work, the house supervisors all have my cell phone, so they'll call me ahead of time and say, hey, we have this going on. Is this something you guys would be willing to take? Can you help us out? We've been waiting 2 days. Is there any way that you would have a crew? And we work on that stuff.
Okay. Very good. Any other questions? Look forward to this, really do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eric Scheidler's been here for a long time. And I apologize. We should have let you come up here earlier. You want to come up here and so you can get out here and go to lunch?
Hey, you just wait till the end like everybody else does.
I know,
man. Come
right?
on.
No favoritism, right? No favoritism. Well, I thought I had put myself on the agenda, but in talking with Kylie, I did not.
Oh, okay.
I got on the council, I think, but I did not get for this one, so it's my fault, so I'll take that one. Just a couple things I want to update you guys regarding first solid waste. We did have a very successful county cleanup days. We serviced right at about 550 loads between the two garages that day. We brought in
How many loads you said it was?
about a little shy of 550. I don't know the exact, I didn't bring the exact
You mean
number.
550?
550 cars, or
Oh,
loads.
okay, 550,
Loads
okay, yeah,
came
thank-
through
Whew.
that day. I just got a report, we collected 9,300 pounds of e-waste between the two garages. I don't have a total for the other waste that we collected. I haven't gotten all of that back from the service providers that we used. But it was a very successful spring cleanup. I cannot say enough about our county highway guys and the amount of work that they put in those 2 days providing this service to the residents of Vermain County. So I just, I really want to put a plug out there for our highway guys. They do a fantastic job. During that event, we also had some volunteers from Rose Holman up at the Cayuga Garage on Saturday. A bunch of young men from a fraternity up there, and they had a blast. They were great workers. They took home some treasures that they found. I'm interested to see if they ever got the kayak patched and the kayak floats. We'll see. I don't know.
Did they take a couch too? They took several big items.
They took a couch. They took a TV. There was lots of treasures that they took with them that day. So
Notice you said treasures.
yes, they are treasures. So
I think they're interested in coming back too.
They are.
They acted like they want to come back.
And so we're gonna reach out to them in the fall for our fall cleanup days. There's going to be some minor time changes to the fall cleanup days on Friday that the Solid Waste Board made at their last meeting. We're going to shorten that day just a little bit on Friday, and then Saturday will be the same. So we'll update the website and things like that with those as we get information out. We do have Tire Recycling Day coming up this coming Saturday from 8 to noon at Preferred Tire in Vermilion Rise. So residents who have tires, they can bring those to that facility from 8 to noon. The first 8 passenger tires are free per resident, and then it's $1 per tire after that. There are costs for larger tires like semi tires, tractor tires, combine tires, things like that. And so there will be a charge for those. You can bring them on the rim or off. Preferred Tire has a way to take them off the rim. So, we just want to see tires collected and out of the ditches and out of people's backyards and not being used to start big bonfires, things like that. So we encourage residents to take, take advantage of our Tire Recycling Day. I also, Hope Grubbs from here in the auditor's office left. She was also our controller for solid waste. We accepted her resignation, and per my recommendation, the Solid Waste Board did appoint Chris Boo, who is the Soil and Water Administrative Assistant, to the controller for solid waste. So Chris, over in our Soil and Water office, has taken over the duties of controller for solid waste.
Did that change your accounting needs? We were
For-
going to use the auditor's computers, and they're
Right, no, we,
Didn't change
yeah,
anything.
because we use QuickBooks Online, we just loaded it on our system, so I don't see a need at this point
Just
to have a,
asking.
so that discussion kind of went away based on that. So, but, so solid waste is completely housed in the annex now, along with soil and water, so there you go.
don't you have to change your initials?
I know, right? Almost, almost. Any questions for solid waste on that front?
Who were You had some donations, did you not, on the dumpsters, or roll-offs and so forth?
We did not have any donations
Oh, really?
come in as far as dumpsters for that this year. We did have donations of food that fed our people on Friday and Saturday. And we're going to be reaching out to those entities with thank yous and things like that to promote them, and also do a little bit of social media work thanking those entities. So we do appreciate those groups both in Cayuga and in Clinton that stepped up to feed our highway guys and provide those donations as well. But no, we did not have any, and we really didn't this year, this spring, we really didn't push hard for donations to help cover the cost of the dumpsters. That didn't happen. We may visit that in the fall to see, to kind of recoup some of that cost.
I will say in the past, that was one of the things I usually did, and I've been away from the solid waste a little more than what I usually like to be. And next year, I hope I can get more involved, especially raising sponsor for dumpster fees.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, we was involved years ago about doing a countywide cleanup, and that's one of the reasons why we was doing it too, to clean up the roadside. And
Right.
I think I'd like to get back to that and start having people adopt roads. That community involvement.
We had that discussion at the last solid waste meeting as well, and we are looking at 2025, possibly doing that in conjunction with Earth Day.
Okay.
And then looking at how that times out with our county cleanup or things like that. So yes, we did have that discussion at the last solid waste meeting to bring that county, adopt a county highway event back in conjunction with
I think
that.
Penny had some stuff on that where we adopted roads. I don't know if she still has that information or can forward.
I'm sure
it
she
to us.
does.
That'd be good information to use.
Absolutely.
So, how you like your new home?
So for the soil and water aspect, the annex is working out very well. I am kind of jotting down some things that maybe we need to look at, sit down and look at, just, odds and ends of, as anytime you move into a new space, there are things that pop up that we might need. So, we just need to, look at that list and see what we need to provide. But, from soil and water standpoint, the space is great. We've got everything, put away and moved in, and we have a little bit of space to spare, which was a nice thing to see, and we're up and running. So.
Good.
And I want to thank you, the commissioners. I also want to thank Terry and the maintenance staff here from the courthouse for coming over and, again, doing a fantastic job of helping us get moved in, put furniture together, things like that. They do a fantastic job, and especially with taking over another building and adding to their workload, they've been a huge asset to us in the last couple of weeks. I really appreciate the time that they've spent and helped us out there. So,
Very good.
all right.
Sorry we made you stay here through all this.
That's okay. Like I said, I thought I was on the agenda, or I would have come up during the first.
But you
call
could have
for
came up
public
under new
comment.
business. You could have addressed it in a new business.
No, that's all right. No,
You don't have to walk
I'll
very
take
far
my
to your
lumps,
office.
and I'll be smarter next time.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you don't have to walk very far to your office now. So
That's correct.
You can just
No,
hang out
it's-
here.
it'll be a nice little John across the street. So.
Good.
Any other questions you guys have for me? Like I said, I just wanted to give a quick update on those things moving forward.
So we can get rid of the tar recycling part off here then.
Okay.
Nope, Thank you.
Very good. Next coming up, the State 63 Tunnel. The commission did meet with NDOT last week. What day was it we met with NDOT?
Wednesday, maybe Tuesday. I don't know.
Last week.
And
Yes.
the discussion's been about the tunnel underneath of 63 there at Cayuga. That's been a discussion for quite a while. We went there I think we all went there with the same anticipation that this was a do or die, and they wanted an answer, right? We thought, and we was prepared to tell them, no, we can't do this because the fund's not there. But they came back with us and said, it would be safe to say we reconsider, right?
Yes.
Yes.
We have some time.
So we are having a discussion of finding funding. I think it's right around $500,000. Would that be pretty close?
510,
Yeah.
500,000
530.
plus.
This is, I know Britton's even said it, that this is an opportunity that once it's gone, you never get back. And there's great potential there. I'm kind of disappointed. I had a meeting with Cayuga, and I didn't get a whole lot of support seemed to come out of it. A lot of people wanted to do it, but yet there was not very many people wanted to really spend time in furthering it. But it's back in our court now, I'm safe to say, and I'm looking at getting some funding for it. If we can't get the funding, then it's definitely not a go. But I see potential. A lot of times in trails, I've been with the trails system when they first started and everything. Anytime you go put a trail in and you go put it by someone's property, you're automatically going to be mad about it, especially going by houses, and I don't blame them. But this incident here, if the trail is continued across to the other side and goes to the river, which would be an access point, there is no houses over there, which is a good thing if you're trying to put a trail in. But the potential of having people be able to ride a bike or walk from Cayuga Park to the riverside, I think, is a unique piece that could happen. Vermilion Trails, I think we got a letter from them, and I think maybe I ought to read it real quick. It says, "Dear Commissioners, the vision of Vermilion Trails Alliance is prosperous Vermilion County that values healthy lifestyles, embraces a conservative ethic, and respects to our culture. Heritage, where people are connected with the outdoors and communities are connected with each other. Our mission is to grow and connect people with Vermilion County by expanding our network of trails, recreation opportunities. In keeping with our vision and mission, we realize the value of the Cayuga Wabash River opportunity for the quality of life for responsible users of the trail. VTA supports the commissioners in pursuing this opportunity. As an organization, we do feel that the citizens of Cayuga and current trail users need to have and display ownership of the project. Also, as an organization, VTA will be supportive of the process. Any organized group is welcome to communicate with and potentially partner with VTA's non-profit status. The VTA board is open to discuss the future of this possible project. We meet monthly, third Tuesday of each month, 4 p.m. at Trailhead Park or Vermilion County Public Library, depending on the weather. On behalf of Vermilion Trails Alliance, Becky Holbert, President." So that's where they stand on it. I think it's totally up to us. If we don't come up with funding, it's a dead deal. I was checking with funding through the Next Level grant, and that's not going to be available this year. Did you have a follow-up letter on that? On the Next Level?
No, I do not have one, no.
Okay. Talking with Vermilion Trails Association, that is not, the funding kind of went away on that, is what they're saying. So that's something I'm looking at, you know. But the thing about it is, again, we was going there with the anticipation of telling them no, it's a done deal, and they came back and they're saying, why can't you do this? So
one of the disturbing points is that we've not had any real community involvement in this. We've had a town hall, but the town hall was not well attended, or I wouldn't say it was anyway. With that being said, there are a lot of good points that were brought up with this, and that people that use that, if you want to call it the railroad grade now,
Yep.
underneath there, what will happen potentially is that if when this goes away, if it goes away without the tunnel, then that means they'll start crossing 63 at other points, possibly
Yep.
down at the intersection or at 234, but somewhere along there, the people will start crossing that. We thought that there's a problem at 234 and 63. Now if you add these ATVs to it, we've, I think, increased the potential of bigger issues
Yeah.
with that. You hit an ATV, that's not even like a motorcycle. It doesn't have the horsepower even to move, comparatively speaking.
Yeah.
And it's line of sight, and they sit low typically, and the chances are very great that we'll have more incidents. And this thing here is, that if we put the tunnel in, that's a half of the cost of a bridge, or less. If we don't do this, it's going to be, I think, it's going to be a sad day. But we don't have community involvement. There's just not that many people out there interested in doing this from any quarter of the county. So this serves the northern part probably more so, but it can become eventually down the road. This will last 7,500 years. We still have maintenance issues. There's other issues we still need to discuss with MDOT that I'm not but if we don't do this, and that means that trailhead is going to not take a priority. It's not a priority right now. If the tunnel goes in, it could change the perspective of ETA and maybe the commissioners in the future too. There's a long line down through there, the old Milwaukee Road that comes all the way down to Vigo County, so a heck of a trail. It's being used in parts already, but if we don't act on it, I think that'll continue to be a less of an issue or less of a potential trail for the county at a future date.
But yeah, I think Britt hit on it. I think if there's community support out there, no matter where it's at, they need to put these support in writing for us. You know, at the town hall, we asked for that. I received 2 or 3 messages personally, and that was about it. There's ways you can do that online on our county website. You can email one of us or all of us. But I would really strongly encourage people to do that. If you want to see this project go forward, please put your support in writing to us.
I received 0, no text, no email, no phone call today since that meeting anyway. So, or even before that meeting, there is no support that I've seen. It is a significant dollar amount for the county, but we have no crossing from one end of the county to the next end of the county. We have no legal crossing across 63, no pedestrian crossing, period. So if this goes away, try to build one in a future date. Half this cost is being absorbed by NDOT already of the tunnel. They're already doing the engineering and counting that part of it. There's a whole host of things here that are a benefit to the county. And if we don't do this, I think it's going to be a shame. We need to come up with the money in some way. We need to support. People have got to wake up if we want to increase the potential of this county to improve the, what is it called, the essence, or not essence of life, but quality of life. There you go. Thank you. I need somebody to interpret my words.
Try to give you an update by next meeting. I'll do some research on it. Number 2 is with the election stuff going on. Once that's out, then I'll have more time to
That's
do
tomorrow.
that. I'll give you guys a
Tomorrow.
report next meeting.
Everybody get out and vote.
Okay, moving on. Internal controls and state audit. We met with entrance interview, right, Kylie? Would that be called right? With the State Board of Accounts in the council room over there. So they're conducting that. How long is that going to take? I think it's $30,000 or $40,000, wasn't it? Is that what they say the cost of that?
I don't know. They said I think they're going to be here for almost 30 days or 3 to 4 weeks.
Audit is nothing. When you hear someone, all the time someone hear an audit, they think question. It's not standard procedure. This year they have to do it anytime there's federal funds involved, and so that's one reason why they're doing it. What else? Public comment. I do want to say that
With the handbook, John, are we done with the handbook? Anything changes?
Brandon and I need to schedule a meeting, but no one has come up with any changes or anything like that, so.
Okay. One other issue that we have that we've been discussed, Park County has contacted me also. We'd like to have a meeting with the Park Humane Shelter. I think that, first of all, we need clarification of trying to find if we had a contract. I don't think we have any contract with them at all. Just need to get together and find out as far as the county. I believe we give them 50
or 55.
50.
It's one of the two.
And I think Park gives them at least 30. And so I'd like to, if the commissioners approve me, to go ahead and address that issue. And if you have any questions, you can give them to me to find out what some answers we need. Trying to schedule that now. Park County, I've done talk to the council. They're going to have someone. I talked to Jim Meese today, and I will talk to him today. And so I thought if someone for the commission, someone from the council, get together and talk with them about what expectations are. You know, we fund that, and I think that we ought to know what that we can expect out of them. I think first and foremost, and it's not fair to either party if we don't know what the commitments are. And I think that's something that needs to be addressed.
We've already expended the funds this year, though, have we not?
I would agree with that. And I can send the questions that I have, but I think the other parties that need involved are the Park County Sheriff and the Vermilion County Sheriff as well. They're another aspect of that entire deal, and there is a lot of information. I mean, I know Tim's seen it. I know we both probably received a bunch of phone calls yesterday about it, and there is a lot of information out there, and I think, the commissioners want to get to the truth of whatever, these issues are, and I think a meeting's a good starting point, but definitely include the sheriffs, because I think they can include some light on information and fact-finding on that, so.
I agree 100%. So it's okay for me as a representative to do that?
It's fine with me.
That's fine with me. I'll send you my questions and comments to you.
I
I'll
hope
try
this
to-
isn't government by Facebook or whatever it's been.
No, this is a lot of concerns that's been brought. I know Tim was brought to him on Facebook just because it's a place to access people.
I just want facts, you know what I mean? I think that's, there's always different viewpoints and things, but there's truth in there somewhere, and that's all I want to do. And besides, if we provide funding of $50,000, we expect them to do X, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think there was a handshake agreement in the 90s or something. I think that does need to come to fruition, that both counties get together and have their expectations of animals and stuff like that. So
Because it's not fair to neither party. If there's no written contract, we have no basis of any complaining because we have no basis of an agreement.
yeah.
I mean, they have their bylaws, I understand that, but
I just think there's a lot of abandoned animals, and then animals can't be taken in because there's too many at the shelter, and then sheriffs are it's just a whole struggle through the entire thing. So I think getting all parties together and saying, here's the problems, where's the solutions
Yep.
at, or what
Yep.
what are the solutions. So if you just want to send us a date or something, I'll send you the information that I have.
okay. Anybody else got anything to say? Well, we got a
I got a big
record
crowd.
breaker today.
I just have one thing in closing, Tim. Two things, I guess. Two things. First thing, I wanted to thank the Vermilion Rise for helping put on the 3rd annual mushroom hunt out there. I want to also thank the Vermilion County Reserve deputies for securing the event. As always, their help is phenomenal. Also, Mark O'Hare and the first responders, Hellfire, Perrysville Fire, Cayuga Fire. There were several agencies that volunteered their time. And I think as of yesterday, we tallied it up. I think the winner found 2 pounds of mushrooms out there, so pretty nice. A lot of antler sheds and stuff found. And then just to piggyback off Britton said, it's election day tomorrow, so make sure you go vote. I think early voting is done today, I think at noon. So definitely go vote, even if it's going to be lightning and thunderstorming tomorrow. Maybe, I don't know. I heard that.
Yeah, mushroom. I went mushroom up and found one. That's all.
How many participants did you have this year?
So we drawed 80, and they get to bring a +1. So out of 160, I think we ended up with like 140 participation because some people got sick and didn't show up. But I think about 140 in applicants. We had over 300 apply again.
And that's over a 4
4 weekends. And it's tough because mushroom season, it seems like every year we get about 3 good weekends,
Never
and
know
then,
when
and
it's
then that
gonna
last
happen.
weekend people are like, I don't want to do a nature hike. Well, some do, but some just don't want to because they really want to do the hunt. So. Oh, and I also forgot one thank you. The Park Humane Shelter does sponsor the event for the insurance, so a special thanks to them as well.
Well, they're an integral part of our county and
Yeah.
community, and we just have good relationships with everybody, and I think this is a start of get some clarification, so. Okay, if anybody else got any comment in closing?
Motion to adjourn,
Second,
No discussion, right?
if you wish.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you for attending our marathon session.
we didn't make the hour timeline today, did we, John?
Boy, no, not at all.
You're loud on yours. Why are you so loud on yours?
I don't know.